Yeah, and let's go into your family. I mean, you've spoken about your mum and your dad, and you got siblings. You got brothers and
Yes,
sisters.
I got a younger brother. He loves doing sound and announcing, and he does really multi-mixes and stuff with Sports Pro program, working bull ridings and cuttings and reinings. He does the big national futurities here in Australia and does a lot of work in New Zealand over the Christmas period because he likes it being a bit cooler.
Yeah. That's right.
Over the summer.
Yeah.
My younger sister, she's a little bit older than my younger brother. She's sort of more in the support worker fraternity.
Yep.
And my older sister, who's 2 years older than I am, she's a very established teacher in the education department and tapping on the door to grab a principal job anytime soon.
Yeah, no, that'll happen. Okay, great. And then we move forward to the love of your life. You've told me you've got kids. Where did that happen with your partner? No longer your partner, but when did that happen? How did that love story evolve?
Yeah, it was fairly early on. We met, I actually went to college with her brother, and he took me home for, I think it might have been Thanksgiving, actually, that first year I was over there in '89, and that was where we first met. And also through the rodeo season of that first summer, we jumped in and rodeoed together, and she came for the ride on the first weekend that we went because we had the opportunity to stay at her older sister and husband's place. And we sort of hit it off there, and yeah, by the end of the summer, it was a big summer romance, I guess. And from there, we were sort of inseparable for right through the end of my college years, and we got married straight after that. And then Lane came along, my eldest son, and in late '91, we were just pups, really. But
You're still in your 20s or 30s, or?
yeah, I was just 20, and Kerry at the time was about to turn 20.
Yeah.
So she was just a few months younger than I was, and then we went rodeoing pretty heavily, and so we just had Lane on board.
That's
He
cool.
used to travel really well,
Yeah.
and then Liam was born in 1998. And it was 1999 we decided to come home after I wasn't able to get home to help Mum and Dad get through a pretty tough time that they had. Dad had a serious accident on the farm.
Yeah.
And they were purchasing a new block at the time, and the bank foreclosed on them 2 weeks after his accident. He had a tyre blow up in his face while he was airing it up on the farm. It was the one disc plough, and broke every bone in his face.
God, that poor man.
Did the palate as well, and he was just, obviously wasn't his time either.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get home because I knew that would be pretty detrimental to him keeping the place because it had to be worked, but I couldn't get home at that time. So '99, we were able to finally get back to Australia, and I brought the family and had 2 boys then.
Yep.
And then it was a few years later when we were in Gympie. Tegan came along. We were in Gympie while that happened. While she became more than just a spark, and born in Bundaberg after we just moved up to work on CQ FM, which eventually in 2003, so that was 2001, 2003, that was when it switched over to become Kicks.
Kicks FM.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've seen the evolution of radio in Australia as we know it. We all know Kicks FM, and any country fan knows Kicks and how much, it's just signed on to some big things overseas now. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. But I guess my question is, when we talk about that, there's an authenticity in you that I've felt since the day I've met you, when we at the Songhouse backstage before we went on and sang. Yeah. And when you meet these people and these characters in the Australian country music scene, that's what I want the world to know, that we have some of the best songwriters right here in our country that are telling the stories of the Australian narrative. For me, that's very important. And as somebody who's relatively new to I call myself new to the country scene, even though I've been smashing it away since 2008. But my earliest influences are people like John Denver. And, you know, like that was probably the staple. And I only found out the other day, and it was Luke O'Shea was telling me, he goes, oh, he was a maverick man in his day. So he was doing things that no one else was doing, and no one was listening. And I can't, what do you mean? He's the most country thing I've ever heard. And when you look back at his music, it's a lot different to what America was doing at the time when he was touring, you know. He kind of brought the country flavour to to the cities. That's the way I would describe it best, because he'd go to these big towns and he'd play, you know, all of these classics that we all know. And that's what I think good country artists can really do. They can really bring you in. For when was the point when you thought captivating a song is something that you wanted to do? I mean, we'll talk about your latest single, which I think is your best work to date. But let's talk about you as a songwriter now. And when you go from being a radio jock, before we go there, sorry to digress, you did win a CMA award. That's a pretty big award, mate. So.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to win back-to-back years, which was really cool. So 2 times Independent Country Music Award of Australia for Traditional Country Artist of the Year. And probably the thing that was really cool, the first one was with a song that I had a hand in writing with Alan Caswell, Some Kind of Cowboy. And then followed it up with a sentimental remake of a wonderful song that originally was a top 10 hit for Mo Bandy in 1987 on his comeback album after he hadn't really had too many hits for nearly 10 years, because he was quite dominant on the charts on and off through the late 70s.
Yeah.
And it was a song called Till I'm Too Old to Die Young.
Right.
And, you know, to get some recognition with songs, not just that you can perform, but also that you have a hand in writing, that you can picture that narrative when you close your eyes, it really does mean everything to me.
That's what I was looking for, yeah. So, and I did exactly the same thing, mate. You said to me earlier that if you don't feel it or haven't lived it, why am I going to sing it?
Yeah.
And I think that's something for all of us country artists, no matter whether you're young, old or indifferent. If you haven't got an emotional connection to it, it's not your song. You know, and I think just keep it simple. That's sort of the advice I'd give to my students, whether they're doing country or pop or whatever style. If you're not connecting to the narrative, and I think I always digress back to Luke's interview because it was so great what he was saying, but Luke was saying there's listeners and followers. And I think that's a great analogy because, I mean, let's look at, heaven forbid, Taylor Swift. She has a lot of followers, let's be honest.
Yep.
There's not a lot of listeners that are going here. I mean, the kids would probably disagree, but I think she's got more followers than listeners. But I think country artists and country fans have a lot more listeners because we hang on the story, whether it's the most heartbroken story in the world or it's about having beers and chasing birds with your mates. You've got to have lived it. And then what's your top 2 songs that you've written today? Top two that you've had a hand in? We're going to go to your albums, but before I look at them and introduce them, tell me your top 3 that your latest one's got to be in there.
Yeah, Tamworth Gold is definitely in there. That was so much fun. I had the idea at Tamworth 2023. It was when I was driving to the festival, and I just wrote down, well, you know, it's really odd that the cowboys and cowgirls of the Australian Bushmen's Camp Draft and Rodeo Association, they have their finals in the Alex Stadium at the same time as the Golden Guitar Awards in Tamworth. So the final round of the rodeo competition, when they actually crown the national champions, is exactly the same night as we are handing out Golden Guitar Awards at the Trek Centre. So I've told Alan Caswell this. He came to my gig at the Atrium, and I said, I've got this little idea. I said, it's just a great little parallel story. I said, if we can find time between my busy schedule usually, and I'll find out where you live, I'll run down and let's pen it together. And anyway, he said, I love that idea. He said, I can't believe nobody's picked up on it before. And I said, well, it's probably because I'm one of the only ones that live both those lifestyles.
That's right.
So I lived the country music and I lived the life of the rodeo cowboy. And anyway, literally it was the week after Easter this year. I said, I've got Friday afternoon off. I said, I'll race down. and to your place on the Gold Coast, and let's see if we can knock that out. And wouldn't have been 2 hours from
Always
go
the
to
way.
woe. It just clicked because we had a few little starters there that I'd already penciled down, and we just run with it. And
Well, let's not keep him waiting. Let's play the song. You want to give it a live version?
Sure.
Let's do it, mate. This is Larry Cann, Queensland country music artist, and let's not say retired bull rider because you never retire from it.
It retires you.
It retires you. He's going to be performing his latest hit, which you will hear in Tamworth 24 this year. And it's called Tamworth Gold. So we'll just get the guitar set up.
Better get it in the right key.
That's all right, mate. So, whereabouts? Yeah, so just this camera here, buddy. I'll do another intro. So cool.
Got to get this in the right thing for my bifocals. Everybody's chasing something. Everybody has a dream. You can win or lose it anytime. Every battle-hardened cowboy or a brand new country star, we're all here to lay it on the line. They come from Charters Towers, and they come from Boyer Brook, and 100 other places in between. Cowboy on a Brahmin or a picker on a stage, we're all here to chase that Tamworth dream. Years all been leading up to this. Feels like you live and breathe it in your soul. Dream is bright and golden for a buckle or guitar. We're all here chasing Tamworth gold. Seems like every brave young cowboy, every picker with a song, trying to make a living on the road. They all roll into Tamworth without a guarantee, convinced that they can strike the mother low. Year has all been leading up to this. Feels like you live and breathe it in your soul. Dream is bright and golden for a buckle or guitar. We're all here chasing Tamworth gold. Year has all been leading up to this. Feels like you live and breathe it in your soul. Dream is bright and golden for a buckle or guitar. We're all here chasing Tamworth gold. Everybody's chasing something. Everybody has a dream. You can win or lose it anytime. Every battle-hardened cowboy or a brand new country star, they're all here to lay it on the line. It's what we'll do for that Tamworth gold.
Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, mate. I love that. Alan and yourself should be very proud of that song. I feel that song is going to do some great things this festival. Let's go into your festival dates, just so everybody knows where they can hear that live, because I'm getting goosebumps. You can see them on my skin. That's how much I love music, mate. Even talking, I get inspired by music. But yeah, I want Larry to tell you guys all about his treks this year. He's coming from Queensland. He's going to be at the festival. I'll be doing a showcase with CS Management at the Songhouse. We'll all be there singing our latest singles. I think we get 2 songs or something, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Usually 1 or 2 songs. So. But you tell them the dates where if you're doing the atrium or other rooms, just go through your dates.
Yeah, I believe I'll be doing the atrium on the Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful venue. The acoustics in there are just fantastic.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I'll also be doing, I'm just trying to think, the Jamboree as well.
Yep.
Through LBS Studios.
Yep.
And I believe that's on a Wednesday as well, straight after the Atrium gig, so I'll be warmed up for that one.
Yep.
And prior to that, we've got the Hitmakers show.
Yep.
That's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think that's Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Is that right?
yeah.
Tuesday.
Yep.
And probably Tamworth Gold will get a run on that one, and some kind of cowboy. I'm a bit sentimental to that song. I think the more I look at it, I say that it was inspired by a certain champion saddle bronc rider that I knew as a youngster, but my life's been a bit of a mess anyway, and it's probably based a mirror image of myself, really. But I just wished I would have been able to wear that championship buckle at some stage. That would have just topped off the dream, I guess.
Topped off the dream.
But
It made for a more profound song, mate. You know?
This is true.
Yeah, the victory song. It's a victory song. It's the heartache seems easier to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And then there'll be a few other guest spots as well. I'm just trying to lock in. It looks like I will be opening one of the rounds to the ABCRA National Finals Rodeo.
Fantastic.
So it'll either be on the Thursday night or the Friday night performance.
Yep.
Because you just never know. I might have to make an appearance to the Golden Guitar Awards.
You might have to.
Just fingers crossed in a perfect world. I really believe that Tamworth Gold has the potential to do something special.
Yeah.
And because it does really sums up the parallel lives that are bringing us all together in Tamworth each and every year. So
that's right. Well, I'm going to root for it, mate. If I was on the board, I'd give it a vote. I'll tell you now. So everyone, look out for Tamworth Gold. Just follow Larry Cann. Where can everyone reach you on your social media?
All right. Well, pretty much if you look up Larry Cann Music, and remember Cann is spelt with two N's, so it's tin can with an extra N. And you can do that either larrycannmusic.com or find all the socials under Larry Cann Music. There's also YouTube these days, which is Larry Cann Music as well.
Yep.
And that channel's starting to get a little traction. Awesome. I've got just under 500 followers now, so I've been slowly but surely building that up. And that's only sort of came about in the last 12 months, but it's starting to have a little bit of fun with it.
Good on you, mate. Well, mate, let's just before we finish up, I just want to just promote your albums as well, because I've got the Larry Cann hat, which I'm proudly wearing, and I'll be wearing this in my future interviews as well, mate. Let's Ride, Rodeo Ready. Just tell the story about that.
Yeah, that was an actual single that we released of the 6-track EP in between the two major albums. So it was just an extension of the original release called Rodeo Road, and then it was Rodeo Ready, and we added 6 extra bucking songs to the original 12-tracker. So the 12-tracker was something, a real concept album, and they are myself riding that bull on both pictures on the front and back of that album.
Is so
and there's
cool,
a shot of me getting bucked off a bareback horse on the inside cover. So just a few memories of the rodeo days. And so that was a real concept album because it included a bunch of top Australian country music stars.
Yeah,
not just doing duets together, but actually doing duets that had a distinctive theme to it. So they were all rodeo flavoured songs. And it was the first time when that album came out in 2009, way back when. Produced by Garth Porter too at Botany Bay at Rankum Street Studios.
Yep.
And that was the first time that we had Adam Harvey, Adam Brand and Lee Kernaghan all on the same album, because at the time they were all on 3 different record labels. So it was a pretty special deal that they did that for me.
Yeah.
And was able to record half those tracks are originals. Previously had never been recorded before.
Yep.
And I had a hand in writing quite a few of those. And then a few others were just favourite rodeo songs over the years.
Mate, you're like most of us who are in the arts. You don't sleep, obviously, or not a lot of sleep, because you're always so busy, but it's fantastic. And we're moving on to this one, The Road, The Family, or The Road, Family and Home. Tell us about that one, mate.
Well, I'm very proud of this album. I used Michael Flanders, who was based in Nashville when we started the album. Then COVID hit, and he decided to come home and visit his family on the Gold Coast. and we finished the album while he was still here in Australia. He then now has returned back to the US to his studio and is working heavily on plenty of other artists as well. But it was a real passion to be able to just not have a time frame on that album. We just sort of did song at a time and worked through it. And it was sort of a reflection of where I'd been, what I was doing in the now, and where I was going in the future. And so I sort of I held on to songs that were passionate to me from the rodeo years. I also reflected on family, and then also just putting a few things from my past in that past area, and then so I could move forward.
Yeah, close that chapter of that part of your life.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, mate. Well, it's been wonderful to get to know you, but before we go, I want to just do two more things. I want to give you my album. So that was 10 years ago. Plus, I've done a 10-year anniversary and I've signed it for you, mate.
Oh,
so if you can actually find a CD player, that's for you, my friend. And I'm working on my next album now. So I'm about 6 or 7 songs done, but it's coming out in April, so I better get a move on.
Good, it'll be out in time for my birthday.
All right, there we go. But that's for you, my friend, just to take home. Thank you for my hat. And now this is something that really, as a father as well, and as a new father, I've got kids under the age of 6, and I can see in your eyes when you talk about your kids, your proudest punch of them. So let's have a talk about this, because we've got the Larry Cann announcer judge music. Basically, you take this to every rodeo you go to. Is that right? Oh, this one. Sorry. I'll show them. It's absolutely beautiful, leather making, and this is made by Larry's son, and his name is.
This is Liam. So he's my middle child, and what's he? 25 these days. He literally flew over to the US to take up a job at one of the biggest Western saddle makers straight out of high school, and he was there for about 6.5 years, but now he's on his own leatherwork journey, taking custom orders and working in a farm and ranch supply shop in Billings, Montana. And he rides bulls.
The smell is still there, isn't it beautiful?
Oh, it's fantastic. And he does all his leatherwork customized, so he actually hand sketches the patterns. That's why you'll notice the florals in this particular cover are all slightly different sized.
Yep.
Because he's actually drawn those by hand first before he's actually carved them. So,
right. Where can people reach him? Because if people are watching this online, where can they reach him? Is there a business that he's...
Well, he's just kicked it off, I believe. I think he's still in the process of making his Facebook page, but as soon as it is fully active, I'll share it on my music page.
Yep.
And he'll be doing custom orders. He's very cool with the way that he can do his belts and stuff. He did one there a few years ago that was like a black and white checker plate. He actually painted the belt and had all the 4 aces on each side of it. It was a really cool coloured belt, that one was. But yeah, no, he takes custom orders. And,
awesome.
And you just never know what he'll make for you. He even does ladies' earrings, like they look like a fern leaf.
Yep.
And then he'll put different patterns on those.
Right.
And they seem to be a bit of a favourite over in the US at the moment. So
very good. Well, mate, a big shout out to your wonderful kids as well, because as I can see, they're your life as well, and they're my life in my world as well. My boys, I'd do anything for them. So thanks for your time today on the couch with Woody. It's a pleasure to meet you, mate. And the best thing I get from cowboys is a firm handshake. So that's the rule for everyone to know out there. When you shake a cowboy's hand, make sure you look him in the eye and give him a fair handshake, because that's a judgment of character as well. So, mate, lovely to meet you, and I hope you had a fun time this morning with us. And I wish you all the best with your future career, mate. And I can't wait to have a beer with you at Tamworth.
No, it's been fantastic, and big shout out to all my kids. They'll be able to see this, and to Lane and his wife Naomi and little Emily. She's 1 year old now, and to Liam, who's in Billings, Montana. Lane and Naomi are in Missoula, and my daughter Tegan, she's in Billings, Montana as well. And she partied like a rock star a few weeks ago at College Station, Texas, at the Texas A&M football game. So she's still recovering, I think, just quietly. But a big shout out to the family. Hopefully things will be settled by Christmas.
Exactly, and then we'll start again. All right, mate, that's a wrap. Thank you, guys. We'll see you at the next one.